بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واقتدى بسنته إلى يوم الدين وبعد. So after a couple of weeks, normally we'd be back every week. But because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had decreed something else for us, we weren't able to make it last Thursday, and I believe the Thursday before that one as well. So we missed 2 Thursdays, but now here we are, alhamdulillah. In this episode 21, in this series that's been changed time and again, what started off with guns, gangs, and violence became a little too rough. The title, the talks, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make them a means for others to resonate. Perhaps they would resonate with others, and others may be able to take benefit from them. And then I decided myself, very informally, to change the title of this series of lectures to, I think it was Establishing Brotherhood in Our Communities. And then with that, what I decided to do is to delve in the ahadith, the teachings of Rasulullah Sallallāhu Alaihi wasallam, and to choose specifically those that were commonly known to the people but related to the topic. Those that we could be able to relate to because they are those ahadith. Now there is an ocean, there is a galaxy of the teachings of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, namely the ahadith. So to be able to choose those which many of us were familiar with, and to just elaborate and to so to say decipher. I'm not no scholar of hadith, but to decode. But again, I'm not a scholar of hadith. To deconstruct. I'm not a scholar of hadith, but to just share with us what the scholars of hadith have shared with us regarding such sayings. Today, the hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrates it. Imam Tirmidhi rahimahullah has recorded it, documented it, and mentioned it in his book. A very famous hadith. This hadith, من حسن إسلام قال عليه الصلاة والسلام من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. And this is what we're going to be discussing for the next 27 minutes. من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. This is, as a matter of fact, one of those ahadith that, in my humble opinion, we should try to memorize. And now that's one thing. To be able to memorize the hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is great. It's phenomenal. Much better than memorizing lyrics to this song and that song and what's wrong. However, to make intention to act upon these ahadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is much more important. To make an intention to act upon these ahadith, especially those that we speak about, those that we discuss and mention on Thursday evenings, they are principles. They are what we need to succeed in this life indeed. They're not, one is we can mention the ahadith related to the life hereafter. Most definitely. Akhirah is one of the 3 common principles, one of the 3 with which every prophet was sent into this world, to remind, to warn, to wake up the people, to alert the people regarding the life hereafter. But then, in order for us to become good Muslims, good people, people that are loved by Allah and maybe loved by the people, and the people that make an intention and resolution to better themselves, to better their character, to change their behavior, to reform themselves for the better, this is included in those hadith. You want to win the pleasure of Allah? You want to please the angels? You want only the guy on the right, the angel on the right, documenting and recording everything you're saying, and don't give any time, any opportunity for the one on the left? Then remember this hadith forever and practice upon it also. From the perfection of a person's iman, religion, min husni islam al-mar, from the perfection of a person's Islam is that he leaves that which doesn't concern him. leave it. It doesn't bother you, so leave it. It doesn't concern you, so leave it. It's got nothing to do with you, so leave it. It's done. It's not going to help you in the least, leave it. It harms you, definitely stay away from it. It's displeasing to Allah, oh, keep it at a distance. It's something that Allah has clearly made forbidden or unlawful, don't even bring it near to you. This is how a person is able to perfect his Islam. I mean, Islam, we have, insha'Allah, Islam. And those before us, the pious predecessors, they had Islam. Yeah. So, I mean, a Nissan Sentra is a car, but a Tesla Model S is also a car. Is that the nice one? I sat in it a couple of weeks ago. It's got this mode. I think it's called, not roller coaster mode, but it feels like a roller coaster. I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, it was fantastic. I'm never, to be honest, I'm never thrilled by, I mean, cars are cars. But this was a different car in a league of its own. Nevertheless, what do we get cars? Yeah, so the Nissan Sentra is a car, but the Tesla is also a car. We have Islam, for lack of better analogies, parables, or examples. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was also a Muslim. Radiallahu anhu warda. I love them. I'm so passionate about them. They were so great. Shaykh Muhammad bin Adam al-Kawthari, just perhaps a couple of weeks ago, he had tweeted something. If you would love to be something along these lines, if you would have loved to be with anybody, of course, the greats of the past, Muslims, saviors of the Islamic spirit, champions, who would you want to be with? And you know, many, mashallah, had some amazing answers. Mine goes straight back to the Sahaba. I mean, they're all great. All of them. Abu Bakr wa Umar. And then Talha, I mean, Ali, Uthman, Talha, Sa'ad bin Rahman, Zayd, Sa'id bin Zayd, Zubair bin al-Awwam. But then Sa'ad bin Mu'adh, radiyallahu anhu. I just remember Shaykh Muhammad bin Adam al-Kawthari. Nevertheless, so min husni Islam al-mar'i tarkuhu ma la ya'ni. If it's got nothing to do with you. Abu Dawood rahimahullah, he is reported to have said that from all of the ahadith that he had collected, and that's 4,000 in number, he said, I found the essence of all 4,000 in 4 of them alone. The essence, so to say, the crux or the juice from all 4,000, I can take out of 4 ahadith alone. And what were they? Number 1, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions depend on their intentions. Number 2, الْحَلَالُ بَيِّنٌ وَالْحَرَامُ بَيِّنٌ وَبَيْنَهُمَا أُمُورٌ مُشْتَبِهَاتٌ. And the hadith goes on. Whatever is halal, Allah has made clear. Whatever is haram, Allah has made clear. And then there's some things that are in the gray area. You stay away from them. Number 3, إِنَّ اللَّهَ طَيِّبٌ لَا يَقْبَلُ إِلَّا طَيِّبًا. Allah is pure and He only accepts that which is pure. وَأَمَرَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ or mu'mineen. And the hadith goes on. And number 4, مِنْ حُسْنِ إِسْلَامِ الْمَرْءِ تَرْكُهُ مَا لَا يَعْنِيهِ. From the perfection of a person's Islam is that he leaves and disowns and abandons and closes the chapter and dusts his hands from what? From that which doesn't concern him. I'm just giving you a very feeble translation of what this ya'ni, ana ya'ni means. That it doesn't concern him. Now, hold on, we're going to be there just now. So some people said, عمدة الدين عندنا كلمات أربع من كلام خير البرية اتق الدنيا وازهد ودع ما يعنيك ودع ما ليس يعنيك واعملن بنية. They said, you know, the best or the juice or there's a word I keep, it's slipping my mind. عمدة الدين, like, you know, the gold of this deen is found in the words, in certain words, and those words namely are 4 of the words of Rasulullah Sallallāhu Alaihi Wasallam, the best of Allah's creation. Let us tell you what the golden words of this deen are from the words of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Man, that's a terrible translation, but you understand. Like basically the greatest words of all time. اتق الدنيا. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, فَاتَّقُوا الدُّنْيَا وَاتَّقُوا النِّسَاء فَإِنَّ أَوَّلَ فِتْنَةِ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ كَانَتْ فِي النِّسَاءِ اللهم احفظنا من فتنة النساء ونعوذ بك من فتنة النساء. Fear the dunya. Fear the dunya. Refrain, stay away. I mean, again, taqwa is to do what Allah wants you to do and to refrain from what Allah doesn't want you to do, according to Hassan Basri. And I hear fear the dunya. Watch out. You got a ship sailing on the water. It's all good. The moment that water comes inside, it's gone. That's it. I read this somewhere else the other day as well. The whole world says whatever they want to say about you, it's fine. Continue moving, doing your thing, progressing, going ahead. Next step, strength to strength, and just keep flying. Don't stop at anybody's criticism, anybody's dishonoring, anybody's, I mean, people are nasty, but anyway, may Allah forgive us, may Allah forgive me. So, don't stop, just keep going. The whole world's going to talk. The moment that talk, that negative energy from the people's speech comes inside of you, you're done. Oh, don't let it get to you, because if it does, oh man. I was listening to a talk by a woman last night. I normally don't. Very great inspiration, this woman. A Bollywood actress married mufti. A woman from Bollywood who's just married a mufti. Man, you can't care what the world's got to say. It's going to keep you back. It's going to keep you blind. It's going to keep you beguiled, deceived, and delusional, and all sorts of things. Anyways, so they said, fear the dunya is the first. These are golden words. Wazhad, ittaqud dunya wazhad. Number 2, abstain from this dunya. Number 3, da'ma laysa ya'nik, leave whatever doesn't concern you. And number 4, wa'malanna biniyya, check your intention with everything you do. And this is, as a matter of fact, one of the greatest principles that we can take in adab, in etiquettes, in conducting and in carrying ourselves. This hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If something doesn't concern us, for Allah's sake, don't got nothing to do with it. Leave it. Who cares? It doesn't bother me. But wait, again, doesn't concern me, doesn't bother me, it's got nothing to do with me. Wait up. We're going to tell you a different translation to this word. Now, another, oh no. According to, so basically, the 4 greatest ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in conducting ourselves, sometimes I write incomplete notes, are, number 1, Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut. He who believes in Allah and in the last day, speak what's good or stay quiet. Number 2, this one right here, min husni islam al-mar'i tarku ma la ya'ni. Number 3, when a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, give me some advice, O Messenger of Allah. The Prophet told him how beautifully short and sweet. La taghdab. Don't get angry. Don't get angry. Oh, anger? Add a D in front of it? Danger. More danger. Anger? Put a D in front of it? Yeah. And number 4, al-mu'minu يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. A believer loves for his brother what he loves for himself. Now come back to the hadith. What exactly is ما لا يعني? To refrain from that which doesn't bother you, doesn't concern you. أنا يعني means to give great importance to something. Okay, شدة الاهتمام بالعربية. So, in other words, the Prophet ﷺ said, from the perfection of a person's Islam is that they leave anything which isn't completely important to them. Anything which isn't completely significant, cut it, leave it. Got no need for it. No time for it. شدة الاهتمام بالشيء. يعني, in other words, you really, you got to give this thing a lot of significance, a lot of regard, a lot of time and effort, a lot of peace of your mind, you've really, this thing's got to be really important. And if it's not, move. You've got no need. Wow, the ulama. So let alone anything which is haram. Whoa, that's very far-fetched for the Muslim. The Muslim don't go near those things that Allah gets angry with. Let alone those, the Muslim doesn't go near those things which they might just be in the gray area. I don't know, can I eat this? I don't know, can I do this? I don't know, can I listen to this? I mean, a brother I've known for well over a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades, I'm not sure. He asked me this question: where do I draw the line when talking to my fiancée? Where, what am I allowed to say? What am I not allowed to say? Am I allowed to use these words, these phrases, these sentences? I thought to myself, 2020 pandemonium, and you're asking me a question like this. Lord, your iman must be flying right now. I mean, you must be on a high or something. If you knew what I know, or you do know, but what people say to those, oh my God, to those they think they're engaged with. By the way, the concept of engaged in Islam is no. You engaged, so what? You're not allowed to talk to this woman. Unless it's not really important, it's a dire need, and you're not allowed to talk to her. Simple. The girl's not allowed to talk to you. Simple. No, you're not. No. Until you're married, there's no talking. No, but Shaykh, it's diplomatic. No, it's not diplomatic. I mean, I've been talking to her for 2 years. God, she must know every little thing, the nitty and gritty about you. 2 years? It takes an hour, max. You want to buy a house on mortgage? No. You're going to wear a hijab? Yes. What you going to do? But that's it. Man, talking every single night for 2 years. You can only imagine what goes on in that talk. Ya la fasad al-dhawq. Ya la su' al-ikhtiyar. Oh God. You can imagine. So the man asked me, I gave him an answer. I said, I'm going to give you the answer the way it is. I'm sorry if you don't like it. Yep. So, forget doing things that are haram and that are mushtabih, they're not. I don't know. Is it allowed? Leave it. And when a person actually does this, that hadith, one day we'll probably discuss that hadith too. When Jibreel alayhi salam, it's called hadith of Jibreel. He comes to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and he asks him, all right, he comes really close to him and sits right next to him. I mean, his knees are connected with the knees. Very amazing hadith, by the way. I mean, and the commentary that the scholars have written is just mind-blowing. Nevertheless, Jibreel alayhi salam asked him, what is Iman? And the Prophet alayhi salam replied. And then Jibreel tells him, Sadaqta, yeah, you're right. So the Sahaba are sitting there like, فَعَجَبْنَا لَهُ يَسَأَلُهُ وَيُصَدِّقُ. Wow, that's strange. You ask him a question, he gives you an answer, and you tell him he's right? Anyways, he asked him, what's Islam? The Prophet alayhi salam gave him an answer, the correct answer. Jibreel alayhi salam said, Sadaq, you're right. What? I mean, you're asking him, and then you're telling him, you're testifying, yeah, he's right. And then he asked him, what's ihsan? Ihsan. It's not just a name. I know quite a few ihsans. At least a couple. I know quite a few. So, the Prophet ﷺ said, أَن تَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ. You worship Allah as if you see Allah. You know, this is what we're supposed to aspire to become. I don't know why I talk. I'm definitely not one to talk. I've been asked to. This is what every single believer has to make an effort to reach. Like this is what we call goals. This should be on the goals of every single believing man and woman. to ultimately reach such a stage where you worship Allah as if you see Him, not just praying salat. This is everything. You're at work, sitting in the cubicle, and the cubicle next door is someone else. I mean, you're doing your job. This job can be worship. You are making a livelihood. You're trying to take care of your family. You're doing a tremendous job. You're giving sadaqah by doing this. You're doing a great job, saving your family from having to look elsewhere, from having to turn to anything that is forbidden, from having to beg, you're doing amazing. This is worship. But are you doing it knowing that Allah is watching? That's ihsan. In order for a person to reach that level, said the greats of the past, this is a stepping stone. What is it? Leave whatever doesn't bother you. Whatever isn't important, don't. I mean, you've got enough on your plate. If you think you've got nothing on your plate, just the thought of having to stand before Allah on the day of Qiyamah is more than enough. We're all going to stand. Every man, every woman for themselves. What is it going to be like? Nevertheless, so that's what it is. We make an effort to actually start leaving whatever is not important to us, whatever is going to take us further away from Allah. We're working towards achieving ihsan. That's what we want. And you make such an effort, you just keep doing it until you become shy. You become shy knowing how near Allah is to us. Because Allah said, وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. We're closer to you, to Him, the human, than His own jugular vein. Allah is close. Allah, I mean, this is just an analogy. Allah hears and listens to everything from you and me. We know this. So we become shy. We become ashamed of having to do anything, knowing that Allah is listening. Everything that we're saying, Allah is listening. Allah is listening. You know, I said this a couple of weeks ago. I need these lectures more than anybody else. Man. And then we fear Allah so much because we know how much power Allah has over us. We were so shy to do anything displeasing to Allah because we know how close He is to us. Yet we fear Him so much because we know how much power He has over us. Said some of the greats of the past. Yeah. When we speak, we know He's listening. When we speak, any word that we utter, know that Allah is listening. And when we're quiet, know that Allah is watching. You know, this might sound strange. You know, people can backbite with their eyes, with gestures that they make using their eyes. Anyways, Allah said, Bala wa rusuluna ladayhim yaktubun. Allah says, we've got our messengers writing down everything. Not a word goes by. There's a difference of opinion. Some said, only that which is good and that which is bad is recorded and documented by these angels. Some said, no. Everything, every single word is documented. Okay, then they said, all right, fine, fair enough. Let's reconcile between the two. Others said, to reconcile, they said, everything is ultimately recorded. Every single word that exits, that comes out from the mouth of every single being is documented and recorded. But then on Thursdays, today, before it goes up to Allah, it's looked through. An assessment is made. And then only that which is bad and that which is good goes up. Everything else stays back. Fair enough. But everything does. Every bad and good word that we utter will go up. It will go up. Now, a man comes to the Prophet ﷺ and says, إِنِّي مُطَاعٌ فِي قَوْمِي فَمَا آمُرَهُمْ. Ya Rasulullah, I got this reputation amongst my people. You know, they look up to me. I say something, say it with authority. So what should I tell him? He's hoping to reform, to change, to bring about a change in his people. It's a genuine question. Like, I know I've got some authority, you know, they look up to me, you know. I'll use it for the deen. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told them, you should encourage them to spread salam, and encourage them not to speak much regarding those things that aren't important to them. Ma la ya'nihim. If it's not important, it doesn't bother them, leave it. If it's not going to get them closer to Allah, then leave it. It's not going to help you in this world or the next, so then leave it. If it's not going to do you any good, leave it. That's what you do, just leave it. But we want to know everything about everyone. And boy, when someone comes to find out something about us, all hell breaks loose. May Allah forgive us. Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahimahullah used to say, he says, "Man adda kalamahu min amalih." Whoever considers his speech to be included in his actions, oh, I tell you, that person will definitely monitor, watch, and scrutinize everything. He won't speak much. Anything that isn't extremely important, nah, he's not going to say it, because he knows my deeds are being recorded, and included in my deeds is every word that I say. Not worth it. So, an individual passed away, and so the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they decided to get together that day to perform the rites of the rituals of janazah. And then one of the persons that was there said, Abshir bil Jannah, glad tidings to this man, he's amongst the people of Jannah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked this man, he says, hold on, وَلَا تَدْرِي, don't you, what do you know? What do you know? You have no clue whether this person may have in his life said something that wasn't important to him. You guarantee him Jannah just like that? What do you know? You didn't spend the whole life with him. In other words, you weren't with him to watch him, to listen to what he had to say. What if he said something that wasn't? What? I mean, that's enough for him to be cast out of Jannah. Wow, man, this stuff is real. Luqman Hakim, Luqman the wise, Allah quotes him in the Holy Quran, sitting amongst his people upon occasion. And a man comes, you know, one of those men with like that negative energy. Oh, remember, you know, I used to go to school with you, man. Remember we used to do this and that together. Oh, that was like 20 years ago. What are you talking about now? Hey, I was sitting in a wedding once. Real talk. I mean, this guy got it wrong, for Allah's sake. I wish he would have gotten it right. I've been going, pre-pandemic, I started calling it the pandemonium. Before this whole virus breaks out, I've been going to Oklahoma for like 16 years or something, every single Ramadan. I'm at this wedding here in uptown Toronto, and at somebody's home. And the brother is sitting there, and I'm sitting on a couch, and he's sitting directly opposite, and it's like this moment of silence, which I hate. I hate it when it's so awkward, and it sucks, because, like, you know, I got this chip on my shoulder, but normally I need a break out of that awkwardness. It'd be like, yeah, let's talk about something. What do you want to talk about? Let's talk about anything, for God's sake. I don't mind. Y'all want to talk about John Wall getting traded with Russell Westbrook? I don't mind talking about something, but like this awkwardness, and everybody's like looking at each other, and everybody's like, oh man, don't do that. And in the moment, this man was like, hey brother, I know you. I saw you at the beach in Ramadan. Homeboy, I've not been in Toronto for the last, in all together, 20 years. excluding this year and last year. I've not been in Toronto in Ramadan for 20 years. And this guy, I saw you at the beach in Ramadan. And everybody's like, oh, mashallah, Maulana gone wild, or Maulana's. And I'm thinking, oh, you sure, my brother? I'm not even here. He had seen my actual, not to expose him, but he had seen my blood brother, was with him at the beach, and he thought he was me. And yeah, one of those awkward guys was sitting with Luqman. He's like, yo, and Luqman's, Allah's blessed Luqman. He had an option. Allah gave him, you want wisdom or you want kingdom? The man opted for wisdom. So Allah blessed him, and boy was he blessed with that wisdom. He says, weren't you like that slave of so-and-so people? Luqman said, yeah, I was. Indeed, you're right. So the man's like, how on earth did you go from being a slave and tending to people's sheep, from that to this? He said, very simple, man. The secret's not a secret. Here it is. Number one, I only speak the truth. And number two, I stay quiet. If it's not extremely important, leave it. May Allah give us the ability to practice. Me first. Assalamu alaikum.